Would you trust an enemy that hides in silence for years? HIV is like that. It doesn't scream, it doesn't hurt, and by the time you notice, it's already changed your life. Most people think knowing the basics is enough, but it's exactly this so-called basic knowledge, full of myths, that keeps the virus silently spreading. Like a car with an invisible oil leak, you only realize something's wrong when you've lost control on the road. At the end of this video, I'll show you the most dangerous myth of all, one that still costs lives, even in 2025. 1. Can you get HIV from a hug? Have you ever avoided hugging someone with HIV or shaking their hand? That fear still lives in many people, but it's completely unfounded. HIV doesn't survive outside the body under normal conditions, and it doesn't pass through intact skin. In other words, hugging, shaking hands, sharing bathrooms, utensils, or swimming pools with someone who has HIV does not transmit the virus. It's like being afraid of catching the flu just by looking at someone. But what about hospitals and blood transfusions? Is there still a risk? That's what we'll talk about next. 2. Blood transfusions. What's changed? In the 80s and 90s, the fear was real. Many people did contract HIV through blood transfusions. But today, it's a different story. Hospitals, clinics, and labs follow strict sterilization and needle disposal protocols. And donated blood goes through highly sensitive testing before any transfusion. So, getting HIV in a hospital today is nearly impossible, as long as proper protocols are followed. But there is one situation where risk still exists, and most people underestimate it. Let's talk about it now. 3. Kissing, oral sex, and the risks. No one talks about. Does kissing someone with HIV transmit the virus? If neither person has mouth sores or bleeding, the risk is practically zero. But when it comes to oral sex, the story changes. Receiving oral sex. The risk is minimal. Giving oral sex to someone with HIV. That's when risk increases, especially if you have gum disease, mouth ulcers, or bleeding. And during anal or vaginal sex without protection, the risk is even higher, especially for the receptive partner. So it's not about the type of sex, but the presence of fluids and lack of protection. And speaking of risk, there's a myth that still fuels prejudice and delays prevention. 4. The myth that still kills. HIV has no sexual orientation. This is one of the cruelest lies ever told. HIV is a gay disease. The virus doesn't care about sexual orientation. It follows biological pathways, and what matters is risky behavior, not who you're with. Straight, gay, bisexual. Anyone can be exposed if they don't use protection. In fact, in many countries, most new infections happen among heterosexual couples. This myth not only feeds stigma, but makes thousands of people feel immune and let their guard down. But there's a powerful way to protect yourself, and many people still don't know about it. 5. Beyond condoms. The new ways to protect yourself. Condoms are still the main defense against HIV, but they're not the only one. There's something called PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's a daily pill that prevents HIV from taking hold even after exposure. And there's also PEP, used within 72 hours after a risky situation. Together, these are part of what's called combination prevention. It's not about replacing condoms. It's about adding layers of protection, especially in long-term relationships, where condom use tends to decrease over time. The best protection is the one you actually use. Here's what you've learned. Hugs, kisses, and pools don't transmit HIV. Hospitals are safe. The risk is minimal. Oral sex has nuances no one really explains. HIV doesn't target sexual orientation, and the best prevention is the one that fits your life. But the biggest danger is silence, not asking, not talking, not getting tested, thinking this isn't about me, until it is. If you've never taken an HIV test, go to a health clinic. It's fast, confidential, and it could save your life and the life of someone you love. And if you want to learn about the early signs of HIV, the ones most people miss, tap the card on screen or check the video in the description. It might show you symptoms you've already felt and ignored. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever believed any of these myths? Or know someone who needs to see this video? Tell your story in the comments. It might open someone's eyes. And if this video helped you, share it with someone you care about. Because when you love someone, you protect them. And sharing this video might be your way of saving a life.